Hey, the logo's the same.
Hold on, buddy. Hold on.
And gentlemen,
It's episode 11
your attention.
of the Canadian Bro Show.
The show starts in 10,
Yeah, buddy.
9,
Here we go.
8,
Come on.
7,
The intensity,
6,
the synergy,
5,
teammates for life, hoops for the soul, players for life.
1.
Let's go.
Go.
Oh my God. Hey, welcome to the Canadian Bro Show. I mean, come on. Welcome. I mean, you're going to experience today's show is going to be exceptional. It's going to be epic. And it's going to be uber slick and informative and very entertaining because I have. Oh, first of all, my name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show. This is the second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show's 3 iterations. The first iteration is we're going to be joining Johnny later for the next episode, and Trent's joining us. It's going to be fun. It's a new year and celebrating a 24 to 36 hour celebration of my 60th birthday. Believe it or not,
Birthday, old man.
I'm 60. I'm 60. What is that? So and Trent and I in the pre-show we're just having a blast, and I just want to welcome everyone. This is episode 11 today. We're going to continue on for like week 12 and 13 of the NBA season. We want to talk about NCAA Division One, specifically Cooper Flagg, and what he done is historic. Trent's got a couple of really interesting, some Canadian gal, I don't even know her name, will introduce you. And Trent just finds all these magical things, and he brings it on, and it's just fantastic. And then we're going to do our usual show. We're going to talk about fantasy waiver wires. We're going to talk about hoops. We're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh, and we'll finish the show off with the countdown of the Eastern and Western Conference finals. I'm very excited. My new setup here because I've got a 17-inch laptop below, 17 laptop here. I've got my phone. We were just playing some tunes. I've got a 42-inch and with the Knicks game and Milwaukee going, and then I've got my bro, the host of the most, Mr. Trent ROWLEY.
Hello.
How are you, my man?
Doing better than I was a week ago.
God, no doubt. So, I mean, for those that watched the last episode, I did it myself because Trent was Trent. Tell him how you are. How you feeling? What?
Doing great, man. I'm on the mend, and just feel 100 times better. Still a ways to go, but doing a lot better. So thanks for everybody who was thinking of me, all my people here, people that helped out, neighbors, all that stuff. It's great to know you always have some people that you can count on. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you here, and I'm glad you're healing. You sound great, as per usual. It's Barry White of St. Paul's. For those that don't know, and if you don't know Barry White, he's just a very smooth, soulful Motown mofo.
That's right.
And that's kind of Trent.
I'll take it.
Yeah, why not? It's free, just like being kind. That's our message for today. Just be kind, folks. Just whatever you can do.
Good.
Yeah,
be kind of good. It's free,
and it is free, and it's a new year, and just give out free stuff. If it's free, it's unlimited, so you can just keep on giving it out.
Exactly.
And you're changing lives, or you're making someone's day better, minimum.
There's something you can do every day, always.
Yeah. Oh, multiple times. Multiple times. Yeah, and it feels good, and it makes people feel good, and then they reciprocate it. It's funny how that works, eh?
Yeah, amazing.
So in hoops,
let's go.
Well, I mean, honestly, I want to talk about Canadian basketball as much as possible. And Trent sent me, I think when you were in hospital pre or après, about this female gal that's just dunking all over the place, and she's just crazy good.
Yeah, Toby Fournier.
What's her name?
Toby Fournier from Ontario.
I like that. Ontario, okay.
So, but she's 6'2". So people who want to know more about Canadian basketball, they have every year on TSN, they have this BioSteel sponsored game now with young men and young women that are getting ready to go to college. Yeah. We have more and more kids from Canada committing to Division I schools in the States now. I mean, which is great. It's growing our game. I mean, obviously, as we've talked about before, we have the second most players outside of the U.S. playing in the NBA. We are a Power 5 team in the world now because of this type of stuff. Um, and so I watched her play in the BioSteel game uh, last year, and they had like a dunk contest before. So she's a freshman at Duke this year. She's 6'2".
Not that women can't dunk, it's just not as frequent.
Right? She's from Toronto, but she can dunk two-handed
I know.
at 6'2". And I sent you that little clip of her
I watched the clip.
shooting some threes a little bit. So she's just
Yeah.
going to get better. She's only a
Yeah.
freshman. And as
Yeah.
we've talked about, because we talk about my girl Caitlin all the time, but I'm telling you right now, if you have a chance to watch women's college basketball, Hidalgo from Notre Dame and the other guard Miles, Juju Watkins, the girl from Texas, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But when the tournament comes, take the time to watch some of those games. Laura Betts, who's at UCLA, 6'7" girl, just great hands.
Wow.
Future of the future of the ladies game. We are entering the golden age of women's basketball. And if you're not on board yet, especially if you're a girl dad, I got some friends who are girl dads that have girls that are playing. There's more opportunity. It's coming, and it's happening right now. We're just the precipice of it.
It's not coming. It's already landed with Caitlin.
Yeah,
It's going to
just awesome.
transcend itself to
It's a
levels that
great game.
nobody could imagine.
It's a great game. It's a different game. It's the same game as basketball, but it's played a little bit different way because they can't make up for their mistakes because they can jump out of the gym and all that. But the girls' game is more bounce passes, more fundamental. It's even more, the WNBA is, I would say right now, the WNBA is even more physical than the NBA. That's part of the NBA's problem.
Well,
But
it's because they haven't adjusted to Caitlin yet, and they're whacking the crap out of her. You saw how many times she took cheap shots, eh?
well, there was 20% of the flagrant fouls in the WNBA last year were committed on Caitlin Clark. So, like, seriously, people, don't tell me there ain't some jealous haters out there. Sorry, but black lesbians and white lesbians, they weren't liking her last year because she was taking all their shine. And
Ooh.
sorry, not sorry. And she's going to do it again this year. If you don't think she's going to be better this year, you're crazy. And they're going to get a free agent. If they get this Sabali girl from Dallas, who's a free agent, if they get her, look out, man. They are going to, and keep Kelsey Mitchell.
Yeah.
Dude, I could talk about women's hoops for an hour. I love it.
I know. Well, we're going to do an episode on women's hoops.
But check it out.
Very soon.
Especially if you're a girl dad, but just if you're a basketball fan. I even had the boys coach here at our high school. He even said to me last year about just before the tournament started. He texted me something about a game. He goes, "I can't believe you got me watching women's basketball right now." And he goes, and he was enjoying it. And I'm like, yeah, it's not like people used to say. Like, I remember the first year the WNBA came in. I think the first game on televised game was a Sunday afternoon, and it was the Sparks with Lisa Leslie against New York with Rebecca Lobo.
Right.
And back then you couldn't text anybody, but I phoned a buddy Eric because we were probably going to go out and play ball that day outside. So I gave him a call. I say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Well, his comment was, "I'm watching some Beaver ball right now." That's how people looked at it. That's how guys looked at women's basketball and women's sports in general. We're not just talking about women's basketball. Women's sports is starting to become bigger and bigger. People are seeing that these women are just as good as they're athletes. They're competing just as hard. They're talking trash to each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. If you're competitive, let's go. Let's do it, kind of thing, right? So
and our family, I had the pleasure. I've never met her. My grandmother, my father's mother, was in her 40s, and she was for a part of the Commonwealth decathlon and the British national team track and field decathlon in her 40s.
right.
That's 10 different sports. And she was winning everything. And tragically, she got off a bus one day and fell over, missed a step, and found out that she had lung cancer and died a few months later.
Right.
And an super strong athlete. And as it turns out, they used to heat the houses in the UK with coal. And
Right.
every single guy in that house chain smoked all day long. It
Like
just,
everybody.
I mean, right. But I mean, she never smoked anything in her life, and she was this amazing athlete, and that's how she left us. It's, and embrace strong athletes. But what Caitlin Clark has started is going to transcend basketball, not just female basketball, women's basketball. It's going to transcend basketball forever. Right. I mean, it is truly the fastest growing team sport in the world.
Yep.
And women are very much a very important part of this continued journey. So well said, Trent. Well said.
Right on.
What about this gal though? This kid, you see her in the WNBA? No problem.
I mean, again, it's just a freshman, right? You never
I
know.
know,
There's
but I mean,
injuries along the way. There's still 3 years to go for her in college, right? Women stay in college for 3 years.
you can't get drafted by the WNBA if she's still in college.
No, no, no. You got to come out. You got to declare for the draft to be drafted, just like the
Okay,
NCAA, right? It's just that the
so
NCAA, you have more guys that are one and done. I mean, basically, the real good players are one and done, right? So,
who we're going to talk about
in
next
the,
too?
in the,
Cooper
in the women's
Flag
game,
is one of those
you
guys.
have to play. I believe you have to play at least 3 years, and most would anyways.
Yeah,
Um, uh, yeah, it's just a different ball game that way. So she's got a few years left, but I mean, hopefully she keeps going. You know, it's a person that you're going to add to our national team, our women's national team. You know, down the road.
yeah.
So it's just a good. Like I said, you watch those BioSteel Canadian BioSteel games that are all high school kids that are committed to going to college, and you know, I think all of them, if not 75% of them, are all committed to going to some Div 1 college in the States, which is great. It's great for Canadian basketball, and it's showing. So.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And we're doing a show with the first iteration later together. Trent's going to join John and I with all things Canadian. We're going to talk about Canadian basketball. We're talking about it right now. I mean, we could fill an entire show just on that.
Of course.
We can do an entire show on pretty much anything because the sport is just exploding and evolving at such an accelerated rate. And it's cheap, it's easy. Can you imagine if you've got triplet girls and they all fall in love with being ice hockey? One of them's a goalie,
Yeah.
and they got to grow, and you got to buy all this equipment for the next 20 years. And in basketball, it's just a new pair of shoes and a good ball.
Yeah.
And a coach like Trent or myself or an academy or
Right.
all sorts of opportunities are out there, and the sport's
Way
growing.
more now. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
It's way more now. It's growing and
And
growing.
and Trent, it's a good time to bring up the idea that unless you don't want to say anything about
Yeah, well, it's still in its. We're still a
infancy,
few months away, but
yeah.
it definitely is it's a positive that's it's gonna happen. So it's
So it's something to do with basketball, and it's going to be a positive thing.
yeah, it's gonna be like an academy/club,
Cool, cool,
nonprofit, so we can include as many kids as we can
nice.
and grow basketball in our area. It's super popular in our area, and
Yeah,
it's not just for my town; it's for all the communities around here. And if we can make our games more competitive and
yep,
make our high school team better and more competitive,
yep,
that's what it's about. And
yeah.
I've already had people. I've already had a mom come up to me about a week ago and saying, "I think you opened up a can of worms that you're not going to be ready for people wanting to be involved." I'm like, "Great, that's the idea, right?"
You know,
I'm
it
about,
it.
like as I said to you earlier, I need more people that maybe think like me.
Mhm,
We need to be more like we, not me. And I'm all about we. I want
yeah.
everybody involved. I want people to have this experience. And there's lots of kids out there that need sports that have lived my childhood even of divorced families and abuse and all that. And that sports is that outlet, and that's what I'm all about. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
this is the message that we're trying to share, and we are sharing, and we will continue to share all basketball with from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rolly. This is what really what our passion for the game is none different than anybody else. It's just we're veterans of being Hoop Junkies. We've been Hoop
yeah, for
Junkies
sure.
for
Yeah.
me. I've been a Hoop Junkie since I was 4 years old, and that's 5.5 decades, which is
And the person we are now, like you too, but just speaking on my own, the person I am now, the person I was at 25 to the person I am now, I'm just not. It's a different life, right? I'm another person, and you start to realize what's important. And like I said, it's not about me; it's about we. Um, Life is good. Why not try to share that with others and try to help kids and help people get on the right path? That's something that they can be successful and make sure that kids know and people know that you can do and be whatever you want if you're willing to work for it. There's going to be setbacks, but if you're willing to work for it, you can do whatever you want in this world. And that's one of the doesn't
thank
matter
you
who you are.
kindly for those words, Mr. Trent Rowley. That was amazing.
I'm not trying to be too deep. We're trying to talk about basketball, but it's
No, of course, but I mean everything you're saying is 100% true.
yeah,
And people out there, parents, children, dreamers, keep on dreaming big and
it's
manifest those big dreams.
yeah,
And if you don't get the big dream, small dreams, start with those and
yeah, man,
build from there.
yeah.
Never give up hope. and always believe. And if you ever need any help whatsoever, reach out to people that care in your community and have a proven track record,
Yep.
and coaches and teachers and mentors. This is how we all learn,
Yep.
and we're all teammates for life.
Yep.
And it works. It's contagious, and the synergy of love and friendship, it just builds better communities, better neighborhoods, better
Yep.
franchises, better people.
As I told you, I got to go this weekend to watch. I've been coaching for 17 years. I took this year off and I won't say retired. I mean, it's not really retiring from a volunteer thing, but
You're just taking a
I,
break.
I got to go and watch a girl, Hannah, that's been with me. I coached her in high school. She was an assistant coach with me for the last 4 years. She's coaching the team this year, and I got to watch them play in their tournament this weekend and win in the finals against our crosstown rival. And just super proud moment for me, right? And I look at it and I hear her in the huddle, and it's just an extension of me and what she's learned and putting her twist on it as a strong young woman. Um, and I told one of the parents, I go, the win for me, and this is what it should be for every coach. If you're doing this just because you want to win, you're not doing it for the right reason. That's the obvious to me now. When I first started, I was still, younger. I was a bit more competitive. I had to figure that out as well. But when I show up at the gym and I have kids come up to me that I've coached to give me a hug, to say hi to me. I mean, I had one teacher ask me, "Are you going to the games tomorrow, Trent?" I go, "Yeah." "Oh, the kids will love to see you." Well, that's the win for me. That is the ultimate win.
It's a no-brainer, Trent.
Right? It almost puts tears in my eyes to
Yeah.
think that way, because that's the win.
I'm surprised you're not crying right now. That's beautiful.
But let's talk about hoops. We talked about, we're not going to
Well, we are talking about hoops, which is really
Yeah.
cool. And before I go, I just want to talk about, now we can talk. We'll go into our regular thing, but before, maybe at the end, Trent,
Right.
I've got one player I want to bring up that I didn't know about until today,
Okay.
and I've just fallen in love with this kid. He is unbelievable, and I
Okay, well,
can't believe I haven't heard. What's that?
let's bring them up as we go.
Oh, well, I mean, we can bring it up now, but better maybe later because we want to do the show, right? Do you want to talk about our fantasy? How are you doing in your Trent and I?
You know what? I was able. I had one down day because I was in surgery, so I didn't do my lineup.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
But I did keep up when I was in the hospital. I was like, hey, I got to do my lineup as I'm half groggy. This week I'm like, and I won last week, but I'm up 8-1 this week, so
Yeah.
a win, but move up the standings a little bit. Didn't make a lot of moves. I think my team is
Performing
really
better.
set. I really don't have. There's not a free agent that I can pick up right now that's
Yeah.
better than the people I have on my team.
Yeah. Well, that's a
So
good
I'm in
sign.
good
That's a
spot.
good
And I
sign
may
in fantasy basketball.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think I'm in a good spot there. So we'll see how it goes.
So for those that don't know, Trent and I drafted in the same league as the start of this second iteration podcast that we're doing with the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and ROWLEY. We wanted to try to focus on as wide a spectrum of basketball as we can possibly do because we're hoop junkies. That's what we do. We talk about this all the time. And fantasy basketball, and Trent's involved in fantasy football as well, quite extensively, is something I've been doing it's my 21st year. And Trent's been doing it for a long time. And we drafted in the same. And as it turns out, Trent got drafted. You got 11th? Oh, no, 9th pick?
I had 9th and you had 10th.
I had 10. So, and I drafted 10th, and I was dead last in the league for the first 4 or 5 weeks. And I was like, oh boy, this is not what I do. This is, I have a lot of success in fantasy basketball, and Trent was ahead of me. And of course, we're very competitive, even though we're close friends. And Trent's the co-host at the most, and we really appreciate all and any efforts. At the end of the day, I'm still going to kick his ass. That's it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh yeah, it's happening. And I'm 8-1 as well.
Yeah.
And I was already in third, so I'm going for.
We're both gonna move up for sure. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, and we'll probably face each other in the playoffs if we get that far.
Let's go.
But I plan to win the whole thing.
Good.
I'm just telling you right now.
Right on.
So, with regards to winning the whole thing, you have to be able to work the waiver wire.
Yep.
And have you said you didn't really do too much because of your
I picked up the rookie
situation?
I picked up the rookie from Washington, the one French kid there. I picked him up for a couple games. He had one good game, but once
the 7-footer.
Yeah, but once no, the other kid,
Not Sar.
Champagne or whatever his name is there.
Oh, Champagne.
Yeah, I picked him up for a couple of games just because
He's
I had injuries. I had
yeah,
Pablo, my boy Pancho was still out, Pablo, and my boy Fox was hurt, so I was able to put those guys on injured reserve and had a couple of roster spots. My boy,
yeah,
my boy Pancho's back, dropping 34 right away, so
yeah.
that was good.
That was a
So I
good
picked
game
him up.
last night.
Outside of that, I did try to make a waiver claim for Zach Edey, but somebody else was in front of me, I guess, for it. But
Yeah, yeah.
it is what it is. Like I said, I think. I'm with you. I think we both look at the same way. When you look at our standings, you and I have the most moves when it comes to the free agency stuff, picking up people. But I think my team right now, barring some injuries, which there's going to be, the only reason I'm going to make any moves on the free agent wire right now is going to be because of injuries. I think my team's really set. I think I'm in a good
Yeah.
spot that way. So,
Or trade.
or trade. I tried to make a trade here. I was trying to get Carl Anthony Towns from a dude. So, but
Really nice try.
I gave up some. I was giving up some people. I was giving 3-2. I was giving up some good players,
Well,
but
you'd have to. The kid's having a record year.
but
The
yeah. Go ahead.
the trade with the Knicks is change. They have a chance to win it all.
They
I
did,
think.
except they got stomped by OKC. the
Nah,
other day.
you know what? It's
Everybody
one
has a
game.
shit. Everybody has a
What-
bad game. No question.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But so who are you looking at in the waiver wire? Who's been kind of guys that
Well,
usually you
I
have three
mean,
or four guys to go through? So
yeah, I mean it's really fluid, and I use because our the teams that we drafted are the Yahoo NBA Fantasy Basketball League. I just want to say that because it's my favorite. I've been playing it
right,
for 21 years. I mentioned, and so the writers mostly Dan Titus is the one that I follow the most. Was also a fantasy player like us. Comes up with priority ads, and of course, it depends on schedule. It depends how many games are played in the week. There's a weird couple of schedule confluences where a couple of teams play sort of anywhere from 6 out of 9 games 6 times in the week. And of course, that can be detrimental, but it could also be very beneficial because if you get Saturday, Sunday, and then you get a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then Monday, Tuesday, it is just as important in fantasy basketball to finish in Sunday. So I always leave a roster spot open, if not two. And I'll just drop guys that are fringe guys. Maybe I've gauged how they played all week and pick up guys I can get for Sunday that might carry into Monday to give me that early lead.
right. You get that couple games. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's really
Yep.
important that you look at it that way. And so Kelly Oubre, what is his nickname? It's Tsunami Poppy. That's his nickname. I swear to God. Anyways, he's got crazy hair, and Coach Nick Nurse loves him. And with all of the inconsistencies of lineup change and depth issues, especially with Big Africa and PG, you just never know if any of these guys are going to be there. And the point guard that finally got his Philadelphia championship with the Raps and everything is sitting on the bench. He's just schooling. He's just helping Maxi, and I really like playing them play. I'm not a big fan of Big Africa, but
Schooling
uh,
and eating. That guy's
what's that?
ass huge. I go. He's doing some schooling and he's doing a lot of eating.
Oh, his ass might be bigger than Rick Mayhorn's. Do you remember Rick Mayhorn with the
Rick
Detroit Bad
Mahorn,
Boys?
yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Oh
that
yeah.
guy was all trunk, eh?
I,
Kind of
Kyle
like you.
Lowry. Kyle Lowry is that guy is. I mean, people could say you guys are talking about somebody's ass. Just to go see that guy. He's a little guy and he's like a little tank. Like seriously, like oh my god. And
Talk about a caboose.
he decided to go like some of these players, right? They get in shape. He decided to go on a certain diet and got in this phenomenal shape that the year that the Raptors won that title. And right after they won that title, he was calling up Charles Barkley, like, "Where's the nearest Krispy Kreme donuts place? Because I'm going to
No,
start."
you know what it was? You know what he really likes? He actually, one of the ads said it's like, oh, you're carrying a little bit of extra weight early in the year, right? And Kyle laughed. He goes, yeah, I just love me some fried chicken.
Oh, yeah. It's you just look at the guy, and I love the guy. I love him as a Raptor. As far as I'm
Yeah, yeah.
concerned, I think it's a bit of a slap in the face that they retired. I know Kyle Lowry's still playing, but I think it's a slap in the face. They could have waited a while to retire Vince Carter's jersey.
Kyle's done. He's just taking paychecks.
Kyle's jersey, honestly, for me personally,
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's the greatest Raptor of all time. That's just the way I feel.
Well, let's move on then. Let's fill
Sorry.
let's fill with some content that matters. So priority ads, Kelly Oubre is perfect with the injury situation. He's getting the minutes. He's getting high usage. Shaden Sharp has
Yep.
had injury problems and inconsistency, bad shooting,
He's been going
but is
crazy lately.
really
Oh,
playing well. And by
yeah.
the way, Portland's been playing very well.
They have been. Yep, they have. They've played really
So
well.
Shaden Sharp's a really nice combo guard. He can play. He's not really a point guard. He can play the scoring guard, small forward, but he's been putting up some really nice numbers and contributing through majority categories. Jaime Jacques Jr. from the Heat
Yeah. Yep.
with the Butler situation is really obvious. And if he's still available, I would scoop him up for the
I had him.
remainder of this year.
I drafted him right really late, and he kind of really struggled at the start of the season. He's
Yeah, he
actually
did.
playing
Yeah.
quite a bit better now. No
Yeah.
question.
There was not a sense of
It's a minutes thing.
urgency.
It's a minutes thing too.
It's usage minutes. It's
Yeah.
psychological. But he's a 26-year-old man.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to have a great remainder
Yeah.
of the year.
He's a good player. He's a
I like
five-tool
him.
type player, right? He can.
I like him.
He's a good teammate for sure. Yep.
Yeah, he is. And he's smart. He's cerebral. He's unselfish. He's been well raised by his parents, have done a great job. Quentin Grimes is finally got out of the shadow of the Knicks, and Dallas is they've got some depth. They're scary in the West. They could. Oh, he can score. He's big too. He's 6'5". He's about 225.
That game against the Lakers the other night, he had like 4 straight threes. It was like he could shoot it.
Yeah. So he's a guy you got to really pay attention because Luka's going to be out for probably 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
You never know. Yves Missy. I mean, how many times have I mentioned this young cat, this young French center?
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 episodes, and he had typical Yves Missy game is like he averages about just under 10 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8.9 rebounds. He rebounds really well for a rookie. He's one of the best rookies, top 3 statistically so far. And he averages 1.8 blocks, and he gets steals. He's active. He's thin. He's agile, and he's very aggressive.
Lots of potential to grow as a player.
Oh my God! And and they have no one else, so it's a no-brainer. He got 4 blocks last night, and I'm just like 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals, and 2 dimes. Like perfect.
No,
I'll take
a lot of potential.
Gershon Yabusele with Philadelphia is getting a run. Now, he had a really good run in the Euro, the World Cup with France, and lost a lot of weight, even though you talk about cabooses. That guy's got he is a train load, but he can shoot. He can shoot the 3. He's strong. He's undersized, big, but he's probably 250, 255.
He reminds me a lot of, although he has a better jumper, he reminds me a lot of a guy like Byron Houston back in the day, or a Corliss Williamson, undersized kind of power forward at 6'7".
Yeah,
but he can guard that position because of his strength.
Do you remember Mason with the Knicks? Do you remember Mason with the Knicks? Yeah,
just a better shooter.
Well, he's got a 3-point. He's got a 3-point game, and he can guard centers.
Yep. Yeah.
Hello.
Yep.
And he dunks on people. He's fearless he is a force of nature when he wants to.
No question.
Another young guy I haven't really watched too much, but Portland loves him, and that is Toumani Camara. He's 6'9". Yeah, I mean he's just not ready. He's a couple years away, but boy, when he is ready, talk about versatility. The kid's
just a great again. Like we can talk about basketball bodies, right? When you can be like 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", but now you have the wingspan of like 7'3", right? Big hands, you're long. That's the prototypical basketball player, being long and having that wingspan and be able to be an athlete.
And using that as versatility, as leverage.
As you brought up today so far, like 3 of them are those types of guys as young guys. They're long, big wingspans, and are only going to grow into their bodies still. These guys are in their early 20s. They still have another 10 to 20 pounds of muscle to put on with the workout programs they have and everything else.
Which is why they're getting the minutes, and the youth movement takes with the salary cap the way it's working. You've got to build these youth movement. It's just more fiscally responsible. The next guy's another example of that, Trent. Good segue. The Nets are taking a full. They're just they're going to trade everyone.
Yep.
They're going to get everyone. The fact that they still got my scoring machine Thomas is awesome because I think he could probably average about 35 for the rest of the season, and they'll still lose.
The amount of shots he's getting for sure. Yeah.
Well, no, he's more efficient,
he's
more of a two-way player now.
I'm just saying the minutes and the shot attempts he gets and he's a good player.
But I
So
mean, the way he scores, he reminds me of Vinny the Microwave Johnson
yep,
coming off the bench with the, Detroit. He
yep,
just get up and jack it, and he can score. He just
yep,
can score in so many different ways, and it's easy for. It's effortless. He makes a
yep,
very difficult shot look
yep.
so
Oh,
easy.
he's strong, big kid.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
So the guy I'm gonna talk about is Noah Clowney. Clowney. They picked him up. He's 6'9". They picked him up in the second round. With all the trades and everything, he's starting. He hits 2 threes a game. He's got tremendous athleticism, and it's just really inconsistent. He's a young man, but a lot of upside. I picked him up on a couple of my teams for
yep,
just for Sunday,
yep.
just to see
You
because he had a
said
36-point game last week.
Sunday fun day on fantasy, man. It's like put all the guys you can get in because you can get almost a full roster every Sunday with the game.
I love it. It's exactly.
True.
But I also look for those guys Sunday, Monday. Those are hard.
Yep, yep.
It's those Monday or Monday, Tuesday, if I can get one of those guys. Next guy, Keon Johnson, not a big fan. Jaden Hardy is a little scoring machine that Dallas has coming off the bench, and he
Yep.
reminds me of like Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, a little bit.
In early, like shake and bake, he can take it off the dribble. He's a gunner. He doesn't. It's not like he doesn't like any shot. He just is available, and that's the first. And the coach kid just says go. You got a green
Gunner,
light.
slash checker. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but he actually is a pretty good shooter.
I
The
don't
the
know. I know.
problem
Yeah,
with his shooting trend is he's one of these shooters that
yeah,
shoots extends like Miles
yeah,
McBride,
yeah,
and that relies on a jump shot, not a
yeah,
set shot, because you got to
yeah,
get off and you got to
yeah,
get air. And the
yeah.
problem when you get air is when are you releasing it? Are you releasing it at the peak? Like we're playing basketball with in your sports bar in the basement, you're kicking my butt because you know how to release the basketball better than I do. You've got the whole thing down. And by the way, I don't think I've ever beaten you. You beat me thousands of times. But it's all about rhythm and timing. It's the same thing in real life. And if you're a jump shooter, you have to rely on the mechanics and the physics of a jump shooter. And a jump shooter, like a Stephen Curry, shoots at an arc of about 53 to 54 degrees. And that's the secret, kids. Use
Yeah,
the backboard, learn how to use the backboard, and shoot with an arc
exactly. Yep.
and
Yeah.
repetition.
All right.
So that's it with the waiver wire. Um, what is there anything you want to bring up? Do you want me to talk about this kid that I found that's incredible?
Who? I'll save it for another one. I mean,
No,
we got
no,
enough to talk about Cooper Flag for gosh sakes.
no. Let's go to Cooper. Cooper deserves it because
Oh yeah, yeah.
he just broke another historical record. And
Yeah.
Trent, do you want to lead into what?
I mean, the kid had
Did you follow it?
42. Yeah, 42, 6 and 7. I think the other night. It's the most points by a Duke freshman. I don't root for Duke, but I watch again as a fan of sports in general. I don't like. I'll take hockey for example. I root against anybody but the Edmonton Oilers. But I'll watch some Oiler games because I want to watch Connor McDavid because he's probably one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
And it's the same as basketball teams. I'll watch. I don't necessarily cheer for the Dallas Mavericks or even, you know, some other team like let's say, the Bucks even. But I'll watch those games because you want to see the best players play. There's a reason that their teams are good, and if you're a real fan, you want to watch that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I watched the game the other day.
I'm
And
watching the Bucks and Knicks right now in the background.
it was yeah, what he did the other, I mean, 42, 7 and 6, and as a freshman, he is going to be, barring injury, he is the number one pick. People will be trading. OKC should trade all those number one picks that they got for Paul George to draft Cooper Flag, and they'll win they'll win like 5 championships in a row. But
They wouldn't need to because they have
I know
38 draft picks.
that's what I'm saying. They could trade all the first rounds they got in Paul George trade, and other ones if they wanted, and a couple bench players to get that number one pick. And
Yeah, I
I
love the
mean,
kid. I love
the
the
kid
kid.
is, and like I told you before, he's a kid that doesn't have to score 42. That just happened, right? And
It
he's one of those
happened
kids
because
that
he got hot early. I
we're going to
watched
bring up.
he got hot
Oh,
early, and his teammates were
yep,
giving him, and everyone was getting slapped. We didn't
yep.
slack him, but when you're shooting
No,
25% from 3-point
yeah,
line, people are going to
yeah,
bring it up.
yeah,
But
of
that's
course.
just not fair. The kid's 18 years old. He just turned 18.
Dude,
And at the end of the day, the guy goes ballistic. So I mean, Cooper Flag, starts fast and finishes with the ACC freshman scoring record. By the way, do you know who the last ACC that he beat scoring record was?
I didn't look at it. I couldn't see it. It's probably
JJ
some.
Redick.
I was gonna say JJ Redick. So
Really? Yeah,
yeah.
that's because
Well,
you know
that because JJ Redick, for all his bluster now about the game, JJ Redick was a historical college player.
Yeah.
And was a plumber as an NBA player. So that's how it is for JJ Redick.
So Cooper Flag cut across the court to catch an early kick out feed. He was open on the shallow three, and he was just ready. He had his feet set. He was in triple threat. He's got great hands. He's 6'9". The kid's 18 years old, and it was just a beautiful, rhythmic. Everything was just perfect. Squared up, follow through the line, and as soon as that went in, the kid just something happened.
Well, it's like some people have been talking about him, analysts that seen him play against the Olympic team in those pre-games and stuff like that. But even now, here's a kid that is getting all the hype, all the press clippings, but guess what? He's the hardest worker. Even with all that, all these people, just kissing his boots and saying how great he is, he's not just accepting that. He's the hardest worker still. That's the key. That's why he's going to be probably a really good NBA player.
Well,
right?
I think so. I think that's why he's going to be the first. It's quite obvious what's happening.
It's obvious. It's not close. I know some people are trying to make some other players that this guy. It doesn't matter what kind of position you need, what kind of player you need. You draft the best player at number one. And
Trent, we can do a top 20 draft or top 10.
He's 20 when he gets drafted, right?
He's going to be number one no matter what. But there are some very good other players.
We can get into that one another time for sure.
Oh, definitely.
There's 10 players that, again, there's some really good players coming out of college right now.
We'll do that. Maybe we'll do that next episode.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
kudos to him. He's just.
Well, no freshman has ever done this in the Atlantic Coast Conference history. I mean, that really, when you're talking about that, it's another one of these, multi-generational players that come into the NBA, and thank God they're coming at a quite a frequent, every year, because the old talent's going. The fact that LeBron's 40 and doing what he did, I saw him dunk. He came with his right hand, he switched it to his left and did a windmill left-hand dunk, and his head was at the rim. The guy's 40. Yeah. But then you look at his body and you think this guy spends what, $2-3 million a year just on
it's a different world himself? Right? All these athletes now. They're not drinking beer.
But he's doing it. No, he drinks wine though. He drinks wine. He drinks tequila.
World now, right? Guys are paying people to cook their meals. So they're eating the proper food.
Except someone in with the Pelicans.
Yeah, except
Mr. Hamstring.
Yeah.
Who comes out of a game, out of nowhere. Do you see the 720 reverse?
The other night, he does look a little leaner right now.
He does. Do you see the 720 reverse?
Yeah, he's crazy. The guy's a crazy athlete. There's no question about that.
Right after missing, and then they find him the next day because he's late again. The guy doesn't show up to anything team-oriented on time.
It's all about me.
But how does that allowed? Why find him now? Why not find him the first 20 times he did it?
Yeah, it's like we talked about. The best teams are the best teams because their organizations are strong.
Yeah, and it's character. They're building character.
Top down, man. Top down. So who do you want to do? You want to talk about standings?
Well, no, before I do that, I just want to give people that don't know Cooper Flag or know anything about him, because Trent and I do, and we just kind of... The 6'9" Flag scored 42 points to set a conference freshman single-game scoring record on Saturday, helping fourth-ranked Duke beat Notre Dame 86-78. It was a performance that put the preseason Associated Press All-American alongside some prominent names in the history of the game, of the Blue Blood program and its longtime league home. And Cooper, being the 18-year-old kid he answers, "I was just out there playing, dude." And he sat in the locker after, surrounded by reporters. "When I'm in the game, I don't really know what's going on. I'm just playing locked in." And honestly, if you watch this kid play, Flag has long been mentioned as the potential number one NBA draft pick before leaving his home state of Maine and heading to Durham. Every move on the court has been dissected, all season and late game turnovers and losses to number 6 Kentucky, number 11 Kansas, and strong play in March worthy matchups that handed the number 2 Auburn its only loss. Um, I could go on, but really, nobody has ever done what he's doing, except he was electric from start to finish, finishing the highest scoring outlet by a Duke player at its famed Cameron Indoor Stadium since 1976, most by any Blue Devil since Danny Ferry's program record. Forgot about this. 58 points in 1988. Danny Ferry could play, but he's. I think Cooper Flagg's better than Danny Ferry. I really do.
Yep.
All right, so what do you want to go next, Trent?
Well, I don't know. We usually probably do just the league itself, and then we probably talk about some players as we do the standings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about? We also
Well, the game
have
of the
what's
week
that, sorry?
game of the week last week, Cleveland and OKC.
Oh my God!
Like, and now
You watched that, right?
Yeah, and they play this Thursday again too.
I
in
know.
OKC.
That's so
Great.
awesome.
If I'll tell you right now, with the league, again, I have my issues with the league and with the way the state of the NBA right now when it comes to the physicality and just how the game is played. But at the same time, if you're if you're a basketball fan or a fan that's kind of like me thinking that way, the best thing that could happen to the NBA right now is if Cleveland and OKC both fully healthy were the NBA Finals, you're going to get historic ratings because the games will be just phenomenal. Two great teams, man. Just two
really good point. And even if I may just emphasize that point, which is excellent, could be the only two teams that meet in the finals that actually win more than 70 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're the best offensive teams and the best defensive teams, unlike anybody else. So really, really good point, and that would be exciting. I would love that to happen.
It would be a great finals, and plus the fact that we'd have a couple Canadians in the NBA final too. That'd be even better, right? And then you'll be here for a couple of those games, so even more fun. So that'd be awesome. It would be
even better. Yeah, I'll visit you in St. Paul's.
Go for a day, 18 holes, and hot tub and cigar in the afternoon, and then basketball and tequila in the evening. It would just be how is that not like the perfect day in this world, right? Like, let's go.
It's the perfect week as far as I'm concerned.
So Eastern standings, obviously Cleveland. 33-4, won 10 in a row. They beat OKC the other night, who had won 15 in a row.
Great game.
Celtics are there. Knicks are, like you said, the Bucks have really picked it up quite a bit from their start. You were right on that. They took some time. I think Damian Lillard's probably in the best shape he's ever been in any pro season. His body. Yeah, it's about time, right? It seems like it takes these guys a minute to realize, like, hey, I might be in shape, but I could probably be in better shape, kind of thing. And Orlando getting Banchero back. For me personally, if the playoffs were to start today, that would be the team I'd be most scared to play in a best of 7 series. Is Orlando? They are a wild card right now.
There's something wrong with Orlando. I can't figure that one out. I've never seen. It is eerie.
Oh, dude, they're doing.
It's eerie. It's eerie. How do they do it?
I don't know.
It's defense. It's defense. Because if you look at their roster, you look at their backcourt, you look at the injuries they had up until Paulo coming back from yet another oblique, and the big man going down, the Wagner brothers down, and the big kid who's been injured since his inception into the NBA. They somehow keep on winning, and it's defense.
What, man? The guy doing it for them too is out of nowhere. Is your boy Go? He's just like
Bagazi.
He's just awesome.
The Georgian.
Just looking at the stats, they're like 5th in the league in points against.
It's incredible.
Like you said, they're playing defense. Like,
but Goga is so underrated.
Oh, dude, that was he is.
I scooped on him, man. I got him on almost all my teams until I gave up.
He's a walking double-double, get a couple blocks, and he's like ultra competitive. Like, he isn't backing down from anyone, right?
No, he'll dunk on you. He'll block your shot. He's just relentless.
Between the Wagner brothers and Banchero and him, like, they are not backing down from anybody.
No, it's incredible. And
I'm with you
Jamal Mosley, their coach, honestly,
Yeah.
People have to just sort of give the dude some kudos. He keeps it calm. They
Yep.
believe in themselves. There's no animosity. They've got a young team, but they have character, and I think they've done a very good job.
They are them and Houston are the two biggest surprises to me so far this season.
Two of the
And both
youngest
teams,
teams and two of the best young
and they
teams.
play hard, right?
Yeah.
And Houston's like fourth in points
Yeah.
against, right?
Yeah.
Playing defense,
Yep.
right? I mean, and they're both. You know what? You watch their games; they're actually fun teams to watch. They get after it. Like the ball's getting pushed up the floor. They're not looking to run half court sets. It's like, let's go. Ball comes off the glass, and it's like, let's go, like go. And
Hey,
that's
quick interjection. Trent sent me a little blurb on their first round draft pick. Was in the G League to get a little run because he was just rotting on the bench.
effort.
And
Yeah.
Trent, please fill us in. This
He
dude
dropped
went off.
49 in his first G League game or something
No,
like that.
no, he had 50 something. Did he?
Was it?
49?
I'll have to look at my text chain with
You
you.
sent
To see.
it.
Send it to you. Shepard.
With that bad mustache.
Yeah. Yeah, he dropped 49, 17 to 33 with 8 threes and 6 assists.
Whoa. You know what's perfect? It's perfect they gave Van Vliet the 3-year contract because he's already into his second of the 3. That timing could work out quite nicely.
Right. Yeah. No, it's two good teams to watch. But then you go down the line, Miami, totally dysfunctional right now with the whole Jimmy Butler situation. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm on the side of Pat Riley. Pat Riley got rid of Dwayne Wade when he's past his prime. Pat Riley had enough of LeBron because LeBron was starting to try to dictate who should be coming on planes like Rich Paul and all that. And Pat Riley said, that shit ain't happening. And
he got rid of Shaq too.
I'm leaving. He did it to Shaq. Pat Riley, he's an evil genius. He really is. I'm sorry. He's a basketball savant. And like he just said, and people forget this, Jimmy Butler, you're under contract. And people go, oh, they're doing a disservice by Jimmy Butler because they didn't get anybody there. That's a bunch of bullcrap. Okay? Jimmy Butler wants $50 million to play 50 games a year and try to show up for the playoffs. That's it. That's what Jimmy Butler wants. He doesn't want
he's making $50 million this year.
But I'm saying,
and an option for 56 next.
He wants this next deal at 35. He wants another deal that's probably 5 or 6 years to get 200.
It's not going to happen. He'll be lucky to get 3 if somebody's going to overpay him. And by the way, nobody's going to do that. And what, you're going to give him $180 million 3-year deal at 36?
And the thing is, the other part that bothers me is that here's this guy sitting out now, but he goes, well, you can trade me, but I'd like to go to Phoenix or something.
Of course.
You know what? Trade him to Portland. Trade him to New Orleans or something like that. You want to act like this? Here. Those guys can trade you for draft picks and someone else, but I'm not going to do you the service of sending you to a team that has a chance. You don't deserve it.
And by the way, we're not slapping down these teams. There are some bad teams in the NBA. There's about 10, 12 bad teams in the NBA.
And unfortunately, our Toronto Raptors are one of them. So,
and Charlotte and the
Wizards.
And the Pelicans.
Yeah.
But, Washington is just.
But you got in the East to finish the East, and you got Indiana starting to play a little bit better. Detroit's starting to kind of.
They're playing a little better because of Hallie starting to wake up a little bit.
And Detroit's kind of coming back down to earth, right? They had that nice start. They're like 20-19 now. Atlanta's the one that's kind of in a little bit of a limbo. They're 5-5 in the last 10. They were kind of taking a jump there, and now they've kind of come back down a little bit. I still believe that they can be one of the playoff teams in the East, obviously. And the Sixers at 15-21. I mean, again, just a huge disappointment. I'm not a Joel Embiid might have all the talent in the world, but he's soft as Charmin, as Kobe Bryant would say. And he could be the most dominant player in the league when he wants to be, but he's a tip. He's a baby. I've had him.
It's really unfortunate. The ownership and the GM, they work together to give like almost $1 billion away and really get what in return.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens in the second half. I always believe in my favorite coach in the NBA, and when Vancouver gets a franchise, Nick Nurse will be the head coach of Vancouver's new franchise. I'm telling you right now. We had that conversation, and but in the meantime, he's got to deal with all the crap that's going on there, and that's really the big challenge.
Yeah, of course. That's what people don't get, Paul. Right? You've been around it long enough for me. Is that like when people say, when people go, well, you can't. Why would you think Phil Jackson's the greatest coach of all time because he has all these championships? Well, he had all these great players. People forget that it's not about the great players. The really good coaches are able to manage all those egos because they are massive.
Oh.
That's the biggest challenge for any coach with teams that have stars is you have to figure out how to manage their egos and how to get them to play together. And then what you're doing
Good
is
luck
for
with
all
that.
of them. Right? Yeah,
Good
but
luck
that's
with
what
that.
it's about, right? You know
I
that.
know,
That's
but
what
I
it's
mean,
about.
forget about it. In today's NBA,
Of course.
it's a players' league, man.
Oh, yeah. The inmates are running the asylum. That's the problem with the NBA right now. It just is. So
Yeah, but the asylum was created by the owners and the system.
I got my bodyguard coming to say hi to me right now. So
Jet?
I said I got my bodyguard coming to say hi to me. Hey, Jet.
Who? How many? You got 3 bodyguards.
Oh, Jet. Jet's my bodyguard. He's
I
sitting
said
up
Jet.
there.
You didn't hear me.
So,
Hey,
but
Jet, buddy.
oh,
Jet.
thanks. So we'll go to the West. OKC. We just talked about them. 9-1 in the last 10. They had won 15 in a row until Cleveland.
Without Chet Holmgren, who's coming back.
Shea should probably be the MVP. If it's not Jokic, Shea should be. I think Shea should have won it last year because Jokic is putting up numbers to win it this year. But I think Shea could probably be the MVP this year, which would be just so great for Canadian basketball.
It would, right? but Jokic's numbers are the best in his career.
Ridiculous, man. And then you got the Rockets in second. Memphis, I know who you really like. I like their young core. They play hard, and they got there's a team there in the West in the playoffs. There's a team.
Did you watch Jaren Jackson Jr. what he's doing right now?
Great play. He was a Michigan State baby,
dude. But I mean, he's having his best career right now, and he's staying on the floor.
I'm saying with Ja Morant, right? Healthy, Bane back, healthy. Marcus Smart, healthy.
People don't. Scottie Pippen Jr. was a huge pickup for that backcourt, man. Scottie Pippen Jr.
People might not like guys like Dylan Brooks and Marcus Smart and guys like that.
You do? Did you picked him up for your team, right?
No, I didn't. But I would just tell you that those types of players, those are the types of players that help you win championships. You need those kind of players on your team that are willing to do the dirty work, take that kind of work away from your star players.
Yeah.
Those players are the glue of championship teams. Go look back in the history of basketball. Every team has those types of players.
Yeah.
The Kurt Rambuses, the Dennis Rodmans, like those types of players.
AC Green.
AC Green, 42-year-old virgin. Like
feet like Biverines.
Yeah. Just let your soul glow. Let it shine on through. His little Jerry curl. That was just
I was just gonna say that Jerry curls are so wet that it would drip on the floor and his teammates would get pissed at him.
Him and Michael Cage, baby. Just like Google coming to America. I gotta love it. And then the Nuggets. The Nuggets are really playing a lot better since the start of the season.
Yeah.
What we talked about. I just loving Russell Westbrook in the starting lineup. Those two put up a triple-double together in the same game.
First time in history. First time in the history at their age.
So what we just said about guys like Marcus Smart and Dylan Brooks, Russell Westbrook's that kind of guy. That guy, as an older player, if you're a younger player and he's on your team, you better play as hard as that guy's going to play every game.
You better learn everything you possibly can.
Observe. I get it, but that guy is a baller, period.
I wasn't a big fan. I did respect his records, but I picked him up on if he was available, and I was surprised how I have 8 teams in fantasy. I picked him up on 6 of my teams, and 4 of those teams instantly went up 3 positions because of what he brings to the table.
The guy's been one of my favorites since college. He's just he's a bit of a quirky dude, obviously, but his work ethic and athleticism and what he brings to the table is just, oh man, it's just.
But no one talks about all. Trent, nobody talks about all the injuries he went through to get to where he is now.
But Denver's definitely starting to play like they had.
They're scary, but they still need some depth. I mean, it's better. Yeah, I still think they need another big, but Andre Jordan has been playing really well. I've been surprised. Yeah. He's only getting 10, 15 minutes maybe, but that's all he needs because Joker needs to be on the floor. He's going to play 38, 39 minutes.
If that guy's unbelievable.
I
mean, people can say what they want.
He's the best player in the NBA right now.
You know what? You watch some of these other podcasts out there with like Steven Jackson and other NBA players and brothers, right? Black guys.
You know what the name of their podcast is? All the Smoke.
All the Smoke, yeah, man. So
what's happening before the show, right?
What I like about them and about what they're saying.
Not our show. We're clean.
Being basketball players, they're like what's maddening for a lot of players in the league is that guy is the best player, and just the way he looks and not being athletic and all, he's the best player. Like he is, it's ridiculous how good. Like last year, for example, this is why I think I really like the guy. Is there's a lot of players out there that get the ball and they're black, like the ball stops, offense stops everything. Nikola Jokic last year was in the top 5. I think he was 4th in touches. He was 72nd in ball possession because that guy gets the ball and he knows where it's supposed to go, whether it's him shooting or giving it up. He's not. He knows how good he is, but he knows how good some of his teammates are and how to make them better as well, right?
Yeah, it's a good
So
point. Good
uh,
point. I
he's a
acknowledge that and see
good
it, and
player. That's just
you know,
awesome.
the thing is,
Fun to watch.
the coach got a little bit of a shakeup from general manager and ownership,
Yep.
and then Joker just finally said in his own eloquent way, which is very powerful, in a press conference after they lost like 4 in a row or something, which is really unheard of. He said, you know, and he was very deliberate about what he said and how he said it, and he talked about it's not about this,
Yeah.
it's about this
Yeah.
or something to that
Yeah.
effect. And instantly they went on a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, but I think Brown he's shown what he can do. I think he
Role
needs
player.
to take the
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah. I think
Um,
he's a good role player. He'll probably be a good role player his whole career, but
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
necessarily know how he might become a better shooter a little bit because he does get a lot of open looks. So it'd be nice
yeah.
to see him improve on that.
But
But
he's
I don't.
very athletic. At 6'6",
Yeah,
he dunks on people, and he's very athletic. And they just love his tenacity and how he plays both
Jokic
ends
is
of
a
the court.
basketball savant, man.
Yeah.
That guy could play in any era and be a
So
stud in any.
where are we at
On the West,
after?
I think the Lakers again. Mavericks have some injuries. They're a little bit down right now. The Clippers kind of seem to have kind of met a little bit of a tough
Mavericks
spot.
just Mavericks
Yep.
holding court just for Luca to come back, and he'll be
And
back
then
shortly.
the one team that, again, I think that trade really hurt them. They've really had hard chemistry is Minnesota. That was not a good trade for them.
Well, they're
That
playing better now.
they would have been better off giving up Rudy Gobert and keeping Carl
Yeah,
Anthony Towns,
you know,
but it is
I
what it
watched
is.
them. I've
So,
watched the last 4 or 5 games, and
they're
they've
not a good
won.
team. Yeah.
They've won out of five out of 7 games, and now Coach Finch, who I should have called if I had his
Yep.
number. I would
Yep.
have called him and said, Coach, I don't know if you remember, I'm Paul Bale. And, oh, Paul, yeah, why you bother me? I'm a coach of an NBA team. What are you, a podcaster? Yeah, Coach, you need to start Vincenze. Start
Yeah.
him. Start him
Yeah.
as a 2 guard and let him jack like he did at New York. He led the NBA in threes. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Hello.
And then you got another team that's like, I mean, I don't know how they are where they are in the standings. It's got to be dysfunctional. But the Warriors are coming down to earth. They're 500. They don't have a lot. But the Phoenix Suns at
Oh,
one game under 500. Like, come on, guys, that's embarrassing. With the
well,
talent,
they're playing better as well
uh,
since they benched the unhappy Bosnian beast,
yeah,
who is gone
yeah.
basically. He's not even in the rotation right now. His attitude sucks, and he doesn't care, and he's just like, I'm
And
tired
the
of
other
this.
team, the ones that we like, that out of the young teams, that I don't think they're not going to win anything this year, and maybe not for a couple of years, but they have probably the guy who's going to be uh, the best player in the NBA here in the next couple of years, in Wembyama is San Antonio. Young team, that kid is all his numbers when it comes to rebounds, threes, points, blocks is better than anybody historically in his first 100 games already.
Yeah.
And and Giannis even said in an interview this week, I saw a clip. He goes, I watched their games, and he goes, how much that guy has improved over 1 year. He goes, in a couple of years, he's going to be the best player in this league,
Yeah.
right? And that's high praise from your peers, right? I love when guys can. I love when the best players can. It's never the medium players that can accept that someone's really good, but when the best players in the league, guys who won a championship and MVP, can look and say, that guy's really good, is going to be really good. I appreciate that. That shows that you have some humility and a love for the history of the game and the game itself,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So,
that sounds like Wemby himself. He's a
yeah,
really gifted young man. He's been raised by he's just
it's,
I mean, he is going to
can't
save
say
the
enough about
NBA.
that. Yeah,
He's incredible. And even the Jokic said, "Look, this kid is I've never seen anything like it." And what he's doing is he is going to be the leader of the NBA for
yep,
the future of the game, and
yep,
not just the NBA, the world, kind of like Caitlin is doing it. So these young,
Exactly. Yeah.
these young, these young talented
Phenoms,
individuals
man.
come in
They're
and
phenoms.
transcend the game. They
More like
are.
it is. Yeah. Yeah,
They
man.
are. And Wemby, people don't realize it. His wingspan's 8 foot. He can stand under the basket with his huge hands. His hands are double the size of mine, if not larger. They look like he's holding a grapefruit. He can get on his tiptoes and dunk the ball.
That's
People
crazy.
don't realize that because and with hands that big and he shoots threes.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was unfortunate with Coach Pop, and he's still with us and he's healing, and that's great. But
Yep.
this young coach gave the keys to Wemby and said, "Go."
Yep.
And Wemby is 100% engaged
And then you
and
got the
is
bottom
a
three.
leader. He's a leader.
Yeah. And then you got the bottom three. I mean, I like Portland. They're young too, but Utah and New Orleans just suck ass. They just. But
Yeah.
Utah, they're gonna again. The guy that owns them, he owns the hockey team too. He's a gajillionaire. They're not going anywhere. They're going to draft. Markkanen's playing quite a bit better than he did at the start of the year.
It's
They're not
about
going to win
time.
anything,
It's
but
about time.
we're going to get a good pick, and we'll go from there with them. But that's
I
all I got.
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't sit Markkanen down, they trade him and just get more draft picks because Danny's just copying OKC's
Yeah,
formula
exactly. And like I
business
said,
plan.
if we're lucky enough as basketball fans, and the final is Cleveland and OKC, I'm here for it, man. It'd be great. That'd be just a great matchup for the
It's
final.
life doesn't
This
unfold like
Thursday,
that, but that would be incredible.
if you get a chance this Thursday, anybody listening, they play again this Thursday in OKC. It's going to be a great game probably again. So it's
Yeah.
must-watch TV. There's not many must-watch games in the NBA all the time when it comes to matchups. That's one of them for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. What
All
are
right.
we at time wise, Trent?
We're at 2:57, and I think you want to record at 3 with Johnny, right?
No, I'm talking about how long is the
Oh,
episode?
we're at an hour.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
We're going to finish this off right now, and we're going to join very shortly with the first iteration of the Canadian Bro Show. Trent and I are going to join Johnny, and we're
Well, I'm going
doing.
to join you and Johnny. That's your show.
Oh, your co-host, your
I'm
guest.
joining you guys. So,
Yeah, there's all three of us. Whatever.
yeah.
There's all three of us doing the show. The next show it's going to be in about a half hour or so, and it is going to be all things Canadian, and we're going to talk about Canadian basketball, of course, and lead into where we've just left off, which was a great episode. Thank you, Trent, for all that. The energy
You
is
bet.
excellent. Nice to see you healthy and happy and healing.
Right on. Yep.
Yeah, bro, it works. And looking forward to joining you in the next episode in about 30 minutes. Everything will
Yeah.
be up later on tonight. And in the meantime, thank you again for joining us. And I think it was one of our better episodes. I'm really happy to see Trent healthy and happy to add to my studio in Kelowna.
Happy
Um,
60th.
and I just turned 60, if you can believe that.
Happy 60th.
And on my 60th, the best birthday present I got, and I've been humbled by the generosity of family and friends in so many different ways. I'll just leave it at that. But one of the best things for my 60th is I woke up on Friday and Saturday at 5 in the morning and prep for my referee games. I had two of the earliest games, 9 o'clock. And I did two games in a row, both Friday and Saturday. Saturday was my birthday. And as soon as I finished the first game, it was a girls grade 8 game. I've already refereed both of the teams before. And it was the most exciting grade 8 female girls basketball game I've ever seen in my life. And I was reffing it. It was a wipeout in the first half. They were down like 28-6. And the gals came back and beat them by 1 point
Nice.
in the last couple of seconds of the second half. It was electrifying. The gym was there. The crowd was packed. It was so beautiful. And I was really pleased to be a part of the energy and the love and the sound of the squeaking and the ball and the refs blowing. It's just, we're hoop junkies. This is what we do. So thank you for joining us. Another great episode 11. And for those that are interested in watching Trent and I continue on this really great vibe, we're going to be doing episode 26 of All Things Canadian with the focus on Canadian basketball with the Hoop Junkies. Pauly, ROWLEY, and Johnny will be interviewing us about basketball because Johnny, he knows a little bit about basketball, but not much. And
Paul Bale,
he'll know a
professional
lot more.
referee.
That's all you have to know. No, there's a lot more than that. But anyways, thanks again for joining us. And those,
man.
if you read the ticker below, please subscribe. It's really the most important thing you could do to help us. If you enjoyed this, comment. If you like it, that's great. Share it. And we appreciate your time and effort. Thanks again. And Trent, good to see you. I'll see you in about 30 minutes at the next episode. In the meantime, Happy New Year, everyone. 2025. Let's all just be kind out there. Be nice.
Free.
It's free. And if it's free, you can do it anytime you want.
You bet.
Make someone's day. Take care. Peace, love, and happiness. 2025. Let it be much better than last year. Take care. Thank you very much for joining us. Talk to you soon, Trent.